go, boys. Let's show the Krauts what a Sherman can do.
March 23rd, 1943, Guettar, southern Tunisia. The desert wind sweeps over the olive groves and rocky hills of Tunisia. Sunlight cuts through clouds of dust. In the distance, the low rumble of tanks approaches. A new name leads the front line, George S. Patton. After the disaster at Kasserine Pass, America's reputation in North Africa lay in shambles. General Patton stands with binoculars, his pearl-handled revolver at his hip. M3 Lee's and M4 Sherman's tanks rumble forward behind him.
No more retreats. No more excuses. This is where we prove we belong in this war.
The 10th Panzer Division lurks beyond the hills. German Mark tank and deadly 80s poised to crush the Americans. But in the Tunisian town of Guettar, a fiery general, a battered army, and a sea of green tanks would turn the tide. The Americans had come to fight back and to win. Inside a Sherman, Sergeant Joe Ramirez tightens his helmet.
Here we go, boys. Let's show the Krauts what a Sherman can do.
Just after dawn, the German attack begins. Panzers crest the ridge, opening fire with precision. Shells scream overhead. American artillery answers, pounding the sand. The 10th Panzer launched a shock assault, confident they could shatter the inexperienced Americans. But this time, they met more than scattered resistance. Joe's Sherman jolts as an 88mm shell slams into the ground nearby.
Jesus! That was close!
Target front! Fire!
The Sherman fires. A Mark IV explodes in flames. Another rolls past the wreckage, firing wildly. U.S. tank destroyers from the 601st Tank Destroyer Battalion move into position, picking off German tanks at range.
Hold fire till you see the whites of their crosses!
The ground shakes, dust blinds. One American tank erupts. Crew bails out, screaming. Joe's Sherman maneuvers behind a hill and fires again. The Germans pushed hard, but the Americans, coordinated and dug in, didn't break. They fought back with everything they had. Patton watches from a forward command post, face rigid.
This is what war is. Not words, not theory, just guts and steel.
Bodies litter the valley. Burning tanks fill the air with black smoke. Wounded men cry out for medics. Joe and his crew sit beside their Sherman, battered but breathing. It was a victory, but not a clean one. American crews had faced their first true tank-on-tank test. They'd won, but paid in fire and blood.
First one I've killed. I saw his hatch open. He didn't make it.
Neither did Roberts' crew. That Panther nailed him straight through the front plate.
Patton walks among the wrecks. Soldiers snap to attention. He pauses before a Sherman, its turret blown off.
We lost good men today, but we're not done.
Orders come down. Guettar must be held. Reinforcements arrive. Bulldozers dig tank traps. Engineers mine the valley. They had survived the first assault, but the Germans weren't finished, and neither was Patton. The sun sets behind burning wreckage. A young replacement crew arrives, fresh faces in a war that spares no one. March 25th. Patton calls his officers together under camouflage netting. Maps lie pinned with bullets and pins. While the Germans regrouped, Patton prepared a counterstrike. Not defensive, offensive. He would strike first and keep striking.
We're not holding the line. We're pushing it forward. The only way to win a tank fight is to fight like hell and keep moving.
Sherman units are rearmed, crews briefed, tank destroyers repositioned on the flanks. Back in Joe's tank, the crew prepares. The radio crackles with final instructions.
All right, boys, we roll in 10. Keep the barrel level and your head slower.
My hands are shaking. That's good. Means you're still human.
The tanks roll. Dust clouds rise behind them as they crest the dunes. A column of Panzer's tanks moves through the valley below. Perfect target. The Sherman's tanks open fire in unison. Explosions light the horizon. Tank destroyers flank, catching the Germans in a crossfire. In a bold, risky maneuver, Patton's men used mobility, surprise, and coordination to decimate the German advance. The Germans launch a desperate counterattack, sending waves of infantry and armor into the American lines. The sky fills with smoke and tracer fire. The enemy was wounded but not dead. In a final effort, they threw everything at the Americans. Joe's Sherman is hit. The track shatters. Sparks fly. The crew scrambles out, taking cover behind the hull.
We're on foot now! Grab the bazooka!
German troops advance, rifles and grenades ready. From behind, a half-track screeches in. U.S. infantry leap out and join the fight. Hand-to-hand combat erupts among the rocks. Joe fires a bazooka at an approaching half-track. Nearby, a German tank fires at a makeshift aid station. Medics dive for cover. A Sherman crests the hill and destroys the attacker. It was chaos. Close, personal, and brutal. The line nearly broke, but the Americans held inch by bloody inch. By nightfall, the Germans begin to retreat. Their losses too great. Their morale shattered. Joe kneels by his ruined Sherman. He places his hand on the hull.
She got us this far. Damn good girl.
April 3rd. The battlefield is quiet. Smoke still rises from shattered armor. Patton surveys the ground where hundreds of tanks now lie as twisted wrecks. The Battle of Guettar was over. The Germans had been driven back. Over 30 German tanks and countless infantry were lost. It was America's first major tank victory of the war. Patton walks past his men, nodding with quiet pride.
We've proven our mettle. From now on, the enemy will know. When they face the U.S. Army, they face hell.
Joe and his crew, now riding a new Sherman, join a convoy rolling toward the hills.
Think the next fight will be easier?
Hell no, but we're ready for it now.
Planes roar overhead. The American flag waves in the desert wind. It wasn't just a battle. It was a transformation. At Guettar, green troops became warriors, and George Patton became legend. Present day, a quiet field in Tunisia. A rusted Sherman turret sits half buried in sand. A plaque reads, Guettar, 1943. In the grand tide of World War II, the Battle of Guettar may seem small, but to those who fought, it was everything. Guettar wasn't just Patton's victory, it was every tanker's. Every loader, every driver, every scared kid who climbed into a metal coffin and made it home. In the sands of Tunisia, America learned to fight back, and the desert remembered.